My wife texted, "I miss you," at 2 in the morning. But that message wasn't meant for me. I woke up to a buzz. Just a short vibration, but it hit me straight in the chest. In the dark, the pale blue glow lit up my wife's face. She was still there, breathing softly, looking like she was lost in a peaceful dream. But the screen betrayed her. The words were clear. "I miss you." The sender wasn't me. The one she sent it to wasn't me either. A name appeared, short, familiar to her, but a stranger to me. I froze. My heartbeat pounded so loud, I thought the whole room could hear it. My hand wanted to reach for the phone, but it shook. Like touching it would shatter my entire world. I turned to her. She slept soundly. That gentle face, the same one I had loved for years. I used to believe I was the only man she whispered, "I miss you" to, when we were apart. But right then, those 3 words told me the truth. I wasn't the only one in her heart anymore. I lay there, eyes on the ceiling, the hum of the AC, the ticking clock. The air in the room felt gone. One moment stretched into forever. 100 questions circled in my head. Who is he? How long has this been going on? Why send him a message while I was lying right next to her? But the one that cut the deepest was this. When did I become an outsider in my own marriage? I didn't wake her. I didn't say a word. I just lay there, listening to my heartbeat pound like a hammer, until the blue glow faded and the screen went dark. But for me, nothing was the same anymore. That night, I didn't sleep a single minute. I just lay there, waiting for morning, waiting for a truth I wasn't ready to face. And deep down, I knew, from the moment that screen lit up, my marriage had taken a turn it could never come back from. My name is Charles. I'm 34 years old. I work in IT. A dry job maybe, but enough to support us both. Friends used to tease me. "You're glued to that computer all day. How does your wife even stand it?" I would laugh and say, "A computer never gets mad. At least it stays loyal." I never thought that joke would turn into a bitter prophecy. I met my wife at a tech seminar more than 7 years ago. She was fresh out of college, sitting next to me in the hall. During a break, she asked, "Do you believe machines will ever replace love?" I laughed. "A computer can calculate fast, but it can't remember what a hug feels like." We both smiled. And from that moment, something began. Back then, I thought it was fate. From the outside, our marriage looked solid. We had just bought our first apartment on the edge of the city. Not big, 70 square meters, but for us, it was the whole world. I still remember moving day. We put the bed together wrong, laughed until we cried. That night, we ate pizza on the floor, surrounded by unopened boxes. She held up a slice, looked at me and said, "This is the best dinner ever." I nodded, certain that from here, our happiness would only grow. Mornings were simple. I'd get up early, brew coffee, toast some bread. When the smell filled the kitchen, she'd shuffle in, rub her eyes, rest her head on my shoulder, and whisper, "I don't need riches. I just need mornings like this." Every time she said it, I felt like the strongest man alive. Like I was being the husband I was meant to be. Evenings, we'd stop by the supermarket. I liked beef. She loved salad. We'd argue over what to buy. I always let her win, just to hear her laugh. I won. Those little victories made me smile. I thought, that's what marriage is. Not grand things, just small moments like that. Weekends were quiet. A Netflix night. Some sushi, her favorite. A walk in the park. I loved most when she talked about her coworkers, her projects, the books she was reading. Her eyes lit up. Her voice brimmed with energy. I would just sit there, listening, feeling like the whole world had shrunk into our tiny living room. Friends praised us. "You two are the perfect couple." Some would joke. With the way Charles dotes on his wife, no one else could get close. I felt proud. I believed I had found the right one. Of course we argued. I once forgot our anniversary. She once got upset when I didn't notice her new haircut. But all it ever took was a hug, a simple sorry, and things were fine again. I used to think that's what real love is. Not perfect, but lasting. A month before that night, we were still talking about swapping our beige sofa for a gray one. I said, "Any color's fine, as long as you like it." She smiled. "You're too easygoing. Guess I'll have to be picky for both of us." I laughed, thought it was cute. But now, looking back, maybe she was already drifting away from this home. There were signs, small ones. strange ones. And I ignored them. Like one night at dinner, she smiled at my story, but her eyes slipped down to the phone glowing under the table. I thought she was busy with work. Or another night, I woke up, the light of her screen on her face. She shut it off quick, said, "Just reading the news." I believed her, because my trust was stronger than my doubt. Now I know. Those weren't accidents. I once thought morning coffee, Netflix nights, all of it, was proof of a strong, lasting happiness. But looking back, maybe it was just a thin mist, covering a truth I never saw. Even her mother once looked at me, half joking, half serious. "My daughter is beautiful, Charles. If you don't hold on tight, you'll lose her." I smiled. "I'll hold on with my whole life." But today those words echo, like a bitter prophecy. I truly believed I was the luckiest man. A steady job, a small home, a wife I loved and trusted. I never thought it was just a picture. Nice on the outside, already cracking on the inside. And then, just one message. 2 in the morning. 3 simple words. "I miss you." It turned every memory into a knife. I can't look at this apartment as home anymore. Can't see coffee mornings as joy. Can't see building IKEA furniture as something sweet. Now all that's left is one haunting question. When did I become an outsider? In my own marriage? After that night, 2 in the morning, everything inside me changed. I could never look at my wife the same way again. She still sat across from me, still smiled, still asked for her morning cup of coffee. But in my head, those words kept echoing. "I miss you." The next morning, I set her cup down. She looked up, smiled softly. "You're making me addicted to coffee." I forced a smile back, but inside something broke. The coffee was the same. Her smile was the same. But the meaning was gone. I wanted to ask her, but my throat locked up. I was terrified, because if she confessed, my world would collapse right there. So I stayed silent, pretending nothing had happened. I began noticing things. Little things I used to ignore now felt like sharp pieces of a puzzle. One night, while I was washing dishes, her phone lit up. No name, just a red heart. I froze. Soap dripping from my hands, falling into the sink. Who names someone with just a heart? If they're only coworkers? She came home late more often. Before, she'd text, "Running late? Don't wait for dinner." Now, it was only one word, "busy." I'd call, she wouldn't pick up. Then a text would come, "In a meeting." Every night. Meetings. I knew her job was demanding. But no one meets until midnight, 4, 5 nights in a row. One evening, I prepared dinner, bought her favorite wine, lit a candle on the table. I wanted to bring back a spark. 7 o'clock, 8, 9, still no sign of her. At 10:30, the door opened. A strange perfume followed her in. She looked at the table, stopped, then forced a smile. "Sorry, I was busy." I nodded, cleared the plates. But inside me, another candle went out. Not every suspicion turned out true. Another night, I saw a message. "See you tomorrow. Don't forget the contract." I secretly snapped a photo. My mind spun. What contract? With who? The next day, I followed her. She met a man in a fancy cafe. I watched through the glass, heart racing. But then I saw it was her boss. They exchanged documents, signed papers. Just work. I exhaled, ashamed I had doubted her. That relief lasted one day. The very next night, another message. This one had nothing to do with contracts. "Are you here yet? I'm waiting in the car." My heart dropped. This time, I knew. It wasn't my imagination. Even others started to notice. One night, her mother called me, her voice serious. "Charles, my daughter seems sad lately. Did you do something to disappoint her?" I froze. I couldn't say. She's the one betraying me. So I forced a laugh. "It's probably just work, Mom." She was quiet, then sighed. I knew she felt something too. Another time, my best friend John stopped by. Over beers, he hesitated, then said, "Charles, last week I saw your wife at the mall. With a guy. I was going to say hi, but they were walking too close, so I didn't." I crushed the can in my hand, forced a grin, probably a coworker. But I saw it in John's eyes. Pity. He wanted to say more, but stayed silent. He had seen what I refused to admit. I started looking in the mirror more often. Each morning, shaving, I saw the dark circles under my eyes, the weight I had lost, the exhaustion written all over me. I remembered her words. "I like men who are strong, confident." But staring back at me was a broken man. Empty. And I wondered, was it me? Was I no longer enough? That feeling, not good enough, killed me more than her betrayal. The affair was a wound, but the shame turned it into a pain that would never heal. And then came Sunday, the day I saw it with my own eyes. She told me she was meeting an old friend. I believed her. But when I found her wallet at home, I drove out to bring it. The cafe had wide glass windows. From outside I saw her, not with a friend, with a man. They talked. They laughed. Then she leaned in, touched his hand. Time froze. I stood there, wallet in hand, feet nailed to the ground. I could have walked in, placed it on the table, faced her. But I couldn't. I turned, walked away, left the wallet in the car. On the drive home, everything blurred. I don't even remember how I got back. Only the pounding in my chest, the knot in my throat. That night, when she came home, I asked, "Did you have fun with your friend?" She hesitated, then smiled. "Yeah, it was nice." I nodded, smiled faintly, but inside I knew I had just lost another piece of trust. The days after, I lived like a shadow. I still worked, still ate dinner with her, still listened to her small stories. But every time her phone buzzed, my heart raced like it was trying to escape my chest. And then one night, she went to shower. Her phone lit up. The message was clear. "See you tomorrow, same place, 8 o'clock. No more doubts. No more excuses." This was proof. I sat there, staring at those words, hands shaking. When she came out, I pretended to be calm. But in my mind, I knew. From that moment on, my marriage was no longer a marriage. That message, "See you tomorrow, same place, 8 o'clock." It haunted me all night. I lay next to my wife, listening to her steady breath. But it felt like there were two men in the room, me and him. I didn't know his face. I didn't know his voice. But he was hearing the words I once thought belonged only to me. The next morning, I looked in the mirror. What I saw was someone else. Dark circles, rough stubble, a man falling apart. I remembered her words. I like men who are strong, confident. But all I saw was weakness. A man losing everything. I tried to pull her back. I bought flowers, her favorite. Left them on the table with a note. "Hope you have a good day." She paused, smiled faintly. "Thanks. But what's the occasion?" "No, swear." "No reason," I said. "Just wanted you to know I love you." She smiled again, but her eyes no longer lit up. That smile wasn't happiness. It was politeness. That night, I cooked spaghetti, her favorite dish. But she only ate a few bites, then picked up her phone. I tried telling her a story from work. She nodded, barely listening. The meal ended in silence. I looked at the leftover food and felt just like that plate of pasta. Ignored. Days turned into an invisible wall between us. Conversations shrank to short exchanges. "Did you buy the milk? Did you do the laundry?" No more talk of dreams. No travel plans. No laughter that once left us breathless. One night, I gathered my courage. "Do you want to go somewhere this weekend? Like we used to?" She looked at me. 1 second, then shook her head. "I'm busy. Too much work." I nodded. But inside, I knew. It wasn't work. She just didn't want to go with me anymore. Another night, she said she had to work late. I decided to surprise her. I drove to her office. The building was dark. The guard looked confused. "This place closes at 6. I froze. Right then, my phone buzzed. A message from her. "Don't wait up. I'm still busy." I stared at the dark building. My hands shook. I didn't go home. I drove aimlessly until I stopped at a roadside bar. Beer went down bitter, but it couldn't wash away the pain. I thought of our apartment. Moving in, building IKEA furniture together. All of it now felt like a luxury memory I could never touch again. Sometimes I wanted to believe I was paranoid. One evening, she was texting nonstop. I peeked. A man's name. My chest tightened. But later, when she put the phone down, I saw clearly. It was her brother. They were talking about taking their mom to the doctor. I sighed with relief. Even felt guilty for doubting her. But that relief lasted only hours. That same night, I woke up thirsty. I walked to the living room. The balcony door was slightly open. In the dark, I saw her, whispering, "I miss you too. See you tomorrow." I froze. That whisper killed the last bit of hope inside me. Soon, even outsiders noticed. A neighbor called out in the hallway, "I saw your wife yesterday. She was with someone. Looked pretty close. I forced a smile. Probably a coworker. But no one believed it. Not even me. My best friend John, over beers, looked me in the eye. Charles, I've seen her with another man. More than once. You need to face it. I laughed bitterly. Face it for what? I'm afraid of losing everything. John put a hand on my shoulder. You've already lost. You just haven't accepted it yet. I couldn't focus at work anymore. In a meeting, my boss snapped. Charles, what's wrong with you? So many errors, this isn't you. I bowed my head, apologized. But I knew. I wasn't reliable anymore. Work was slipping, just like my marriage. My health collapsed too. I couldn't sleep. I lost weight. One morning, I fainted at my desk. The doctor said I was exhausted, needed rest. But how could I rest when all I saw in my head was my wife, whispering to someone else? One night I asked her, "You've changed. Is there something you're not telling me?" She stopped, looked me straight in the eyes, and in that moment, I saw the coldness. Then she said, slowly, "You don't need to worry about me anymore. I can take care of myself." Her words cut like a knife. I forced a smile, but inside, I knew. The distance was no longer hidden. The breaking point came on a Friday night. She said she'd be late at work. I followed her. She turned down a small street, stopped at a bar. A man came out, opened her car door. They hugged. I sat in my car, hands gripping the wheel until blood ran from my palms. I wanted to scream, to fight, but I couldn't move. I just sat there, tears streaming down my face. When I got home, I sat in the dark living room. She came in, surprised. "You're still awake?" I whispered. "I was waiting for you." She smirked faintly. "You don't have to wait. I'm busy." I sat there, my heart breaking. That night, while she slept, I picked up her phone. For the first time, she had forgotten to erase the messages. "Don't worry. Tomorrow, I'll tell him everything. I want a divorce." I dropped the phone. My whole body trembled. There was no doubt left. Tomorrow, my world would collapse completely. That morning, I sat frozen in the living room. In front of me, her phone. On the screen, the message she forgot to erase. "Tomorrow, I'll tell him everything. I want a divorce." I read it again, and again, my chest heavy as stone. The bedroom door opened. She walked out, hair tied in a rush, bag in hand. She saw me sitting there. A flicker of surprise. "You're up early?" I looked straight into her eyes. My voice cracked. "We need to talk." The air froze. She sat at the dining table, the same place once filled with laughter. Now, only silence. I took a deep breath. "You have someone else, don't you?" She turned away, her hands gripping the strap of her bag. Silence. Long enough that I could hear my own heartbeat. Finally, she exhaled. Whispered, "Yes, I have someone else." My heart twisted. Even though I knew, hearing it from her lips was like a blade cutting through me. I fought to keep steady. Since when? Almost a year. A year. 12 months of memories, suddenly poisoned. I pressed on, my voice shaking. "Who is it?" She hesitated. For a long time. Then softly, "Mark." The name fell like thunder in the room. Mark. My best friend. The man who drank beer with me every week. Who listened when I vented. Who once clapped my shoulder and said, "You're lucky, Charles. You have a wonderful wife." I remembered that night I told Mark my suspicions. He sighed. "You need to face it." I thought it was advice, but he was the one I needed to face. I laughed bitterly, voice choking. My friend, the brother I trusted, the one who sat drinking with me, listening to my pain. It was him? She lowered her head. "I'm sorry. I never meant for this to happen. But it's out of control." My throat burned. "You've admitted it. But do you still want to stay? I can forgive you, if you truly want to stay." For a moment, she looked up, eyes wet, and my heart flickered with hope. Maybe she would choose me. But then, she shook her head. Firm. "No, Charles, I don't love you anymore. With you, I feel suffocated. I want freedom. I want a divorce." The last spark died. It felt like being thrown from a cliff into the abyss. I shot to my feet, my voice sharp. "Freedom? You call betrayal? Freedom?" She bit her lip, her eyes cold. "Call it whatever you want, but there's nothing left between us." I looked at the woman who once meant everything, now a stranger. I stepped back, hands gripping the table just to stay standing. "Mark, What does he give you that I don't? She paused, then whispered, he listens. With him, I can be myself. Those words shattered me. All those years, I believed I gave her my all. But to her, I was never enough. While she packed, I sat alone in the living room. The sound of drawers closing, suitcases rolling, each one like a hammer striking my memories. I thought of the night we moved in, pizza on the floor, laughing over the IKEA bed we built wrong, the mornings with coffee, the Netflix nights. Now, all replaced by the sound of her suitcase wheels. She walked past me, hand on her luggage, softly. I'm sorry, Charles. I didn't answer. I looked into the eyes I once believed held forever. Now, only distance. The door closed. Silence swallowed the apartment. I sat there, alone, memories crashing down. But the deepest wound wasn't losing my wife. It was losing my best friend. In the dark, I whispered, tomorrow, I'll look Mark in the eyes, and I want to see if he still dares to call me his friend. When the door slammed shut, the apartment sank into silence. I sat frozen on the couch, staring into nothing. Just hours ago, this was my home. Now, it felt like hollow walls, echoing with broken memories. My phone buzzed. I didn't pick it up. Every sound cut like a knife. In my head, only one line repeated. Mark, your best friend. The next day, I went to work. Coworkers stared at me with pity. Charles, you've lost weight. Is something wrong? I forced a smile, shook my head. But in the meeting, my boss slammed the table. Charles, mistakes everywhere. What the hell is going on? If you can't handle it, take some time off. I bowed my head, said nothing. I knew I had lost more than my wife. I was losing my job, the one place that once gave me worth. That night, I called Mark. His voice calm, so calm it made me want to crush the phone. Hey Charles, what's up? Meet me, the old bar, 8 o'clock. Silence. Then he agreed. When I walked in, Mark was already there, beer in front of him. He looked up, forced a weak smile. Charles, let me explain. I cut him off, my voice sharp. Why? He sighed. I never wanted it to be this way, but I love her. I laughed bitterly. Love. You call betraying your best friend love? Mark slammed the table, eyes red. Charles, she came to me first. I tried to resist, but I couldn't fight my feelings. My head spun. The room tilted. But I clenched my fists, forced myself steady. You want excuses? You want forgiveness? A whole year you sat drinking with me, listening to my pain, when you were the one causing it. Mark lowered his head, voice breaking. I'm sorry, but with me, she found things you couldn't give anymore. I stood, looked him dead in the eye. From now on, you're no longer my friend. I'd rather lose everything than call a traitor my brother. I walked out, leaving him frozen at the table. A few days later, the divorce papers came. I held them, my hands trembling. I had expected it, but seeing her signature still crushed my chest. That evening, I called her. She came, her face calm. I laid the papers on the table. So, this is it? She looked at me, voice steady. I want you to sign. We'll both be better off. I laughed dryly. Better off? You call trampling our marriage better off? She sighed. Charles, stop making it harder. I hope you'll find someone else, someone who can make you happy. Her words cut deeper than any knife. I stared into her eyes, the eyes I once believed in. Now, only strangers lived there. That night, I faced the mirror. A hollow man stared back, sunken eyes, rough beard. I remembered her words. I like men who are strong, confident, but I saw only weakness. Abandoned, stripped of worth. I whispered to myself, maybe I was never enough. Maybe I never deserved her. 2 coffee cups still sat on the table. One mine, one cold. I lifted hers. Tears fell inside. The chill pierced my chest. In the darkness, another friend, John, showed up. He handed me a baseball ticket. Come with me. You can't just sit here and rot. I almost refused, but his determined eyes made me nod. On the stands, surrounded by cheers, I smiled. For the first time in weeks, I felt like I could breathe again. But when I returned, the empty apartment swallowed me whole. The divorce papers lay on the table. My hands shook, and I whispered, tomorrow I'll meet her one last time, not to beg, but to speak, as a man. The next day, I met her at a cafe, the same one where we once sat for hours, dreaming about the future. This time, there were no dreams left. She arrived, sat across from me, her face calm, her eyes firm. I placed the divorce papers on the table, my voice low. I'll sign, but before I do, I need to say one last thing. She stayed silent. I took a deep breath. I loved you with everything I had. Maybe it wasn't enough for you, but it was real. I don't regret loving you. What I regret is not seeing that you had already left long ago. Her eyes flickered, but she turned away. No answer. I went on. You chose Mark. I won't celebrate it. I won't curse it either. I only hope. You never forget there was once a man who gave you his entire world. Silence. Then softly, I'm sorry. I nodded. A faint smile. I know and I forgive. Not for you, for me. I picked up the pen, signed my name. This time, my hand didn't shake. As the ink dried, I knew my marriage had truly ended. In the weeks that followed, I learned how to live alone. The apartment was still quiet, but I no longer sat frozen in the dark. I cleaned. I threw away the relics of the past, kept only what belonged to me. In the morning, I still made coffee. But now, only 1 cup. And for the first time, I realized 1 cup was enough to start a new day. John dragged me to the gym. At first, I resisted, but little by little, as sweat hit the floor, I felt lighter. My body ached, but my mind grew clear. I realized, to heal, I had to move forward, not sit in the shadows. One evening, I sat on the balcony, watched the city lights below. Memories came back. Cold dinners, laughter over broken IKEA furniture, morning coffee for 2. But this time, no bitterness. I whispered, "Thank you for once being here." I understood. Love doesn't always last forever, but it still matters. It teaches you to love, to lose, and to rise again. I lost my wife. I lost my friend, but I found myself again. I learned the worth of a man isn't in holding on to someone, but in how he stands after being left behind. Maybe one day I'll see her and Mark again. Maybe they'll be happy. Maybe not. But when that day comes, I'll only smile. Because I've already survived the worst, and nothing can break me again. I no longer ask, why did she leave? Now I only ask, how will I keep going? And I have my answer. If you, watching this, are sitting in a dark room right now, asking yourself what you did wrong, remember this: you are not alone. Your pain doesn't make you less. It only proves you loved honestly. And now, it's time to love yourself. On my last night in the apartment, I made 1 final cup of coffee. I sat, watched the steam rise, and I smiled. I whispered, "She's no longer in my life, but I still have me." I took a sip. The bitterness hit first, then slowly, a soft sweetness followed. And I understood. Life is like this cup of coffee, bitter at the start, but if you wait long enough, the sweetness will come.